Yeah, the fight shouldn't go on.
There's something wrong with Oliver McCall. He's near tears now. He doesn't really want to fight.
From Oliver McCall, who broke down crying after being sucker punched in the middle of a heavyweight championship fight, to Mike Tyson, who bit off a piece of his opponent's ear, what you're about to witness are 12 documented cases of professional boxers who completely lost control during some of the most high-stakes moments in sports history. James Butler, the sucker punch that led to murder. Let's start with perhaps the most chilling story on this list, because what happened in the ring was only the beginning of James Butler's descent into darkness. On November 23, 2001, at the Roseland Ballroom in New York City, James the Harlem Hammer Butler faced Richard Grant in a 10-round super middleweight bout that was broadcast on ESPN2's Friday Night Fights. The event was a charity benefit for the Twin Towers Fund, supporting first responders after the September 11th attacks. The atmosphere should have been one of unity and honor. Butler had been struggling. He'd recently lost a title shot against Sven Otka in Germany, and this fight against Grant was actually a rematch. Grant had beaten him back in 1996. When the final bell rang and the judges announced their unanimous decision in favor of Grant, something inside Butler snapped. As Grant approached for what appeared to be a sportsmanlike embrace, Butler had already removed his gloves. What happened next shocked everyone in attendance. Butler delivered a bare-knuckled right hook sucker punch that sent Grant crashing to the canvas unconscious. Grant suffered a dislocated jaw and a severely lacerated tongue that required immediate medical attention. The legendary trainer Teddy Atlas, who was commentating that night, called it one of the most disgraceful and despicable acts in boxing history. Worse even than Mike Tyson's infamous ear bite, because this was a post-fight attack on an unarmed opponent. Butler was arrested on the spot for second-degree assault. The New York State Athletic Commission suspended him indefinitely and withheld his $10,000 purse. He served 4 months at Rikers Island. But here's where this story takes its darkest turn. Butler returned to boxing in 2004, compiling a 2-2 record as a light heavyweight. Then, in October 2004, he was arrested for the murder of Sam Kellerman, the brother of ESPN boxing analyst Max Kellerman. Butler had bludgeoned Kellerman to death with a hammer and then set fire to his apartment to cover up the crime. In April 2006, Butler pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and arson. He was sentenced to 29 years and 4 months in prison. That sucker punch in 2001 wasn't an isolated incident. It was a warning sign of the violence that lurked within, a warning that went unheeded until it was far too late. Benny Leonard, the fix that went wrong. Travel back to the golden age of boxing, June 26, 1922, when Benny Leonard, the legendary ghetto wizard, stepped into the ring at the Bronx Velodrome to challenge Jack Britton for the welterweight championship. Leonard was boxing royalty. He held the lightweight title from 1917 to 1925, the longest reign in division history. His record was extraordinary, with approximately 91 wins, only 5 losses, and a single draw. He was known for his defensive mastery and his signature perfectly slicked back hair that never seemed to get messed up, no matter how brutal the fight. But on this night, something was wrong. Leonard appeared ring rusty and lethargic. Britton dominated most of the bout with his jabs and ring generalship, winning round after round, while Leonard seemed almost disinterested. Then came the 13th round. Leonard landed a left to Britton's body, dropping him to one knee. Britton claimed it was a low blow, but referee Patsy Haley disagreed, and then, inexplicably, Leonard rushed in and struck Britton while he was still down, a clear violation of the rules. The disqualification was immediate. The crowd of 18,000 erupted in confusion and boos. But here's what makes this incident truly fascinating. Contemporary reports suggested that Leonard may have intentionally committed the foul to avoid throwing the fight as allegedly planned with promoters and gamblers. By getting disqualified, Leonard could void the bets and refund his supporters while avoiding the shame of a fixed loss.
Benny Leonard, these guys are just... They evolved boxing to the level where it can evolve to now. They were superstars in their time.
The truth behind that night remains shrouded in mystery over a century later. Was it a momentary lapse in judgment or a calculated move in a corrupt era? Roy Jones Jr., the only blemish on a perfect record. By March 1997, Roy Jones Jr. was considered untouchable. At 34-0 with 29 knockouts, he was the Ring Magazine's #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. His hand speed was legendary. His showmanship was unmatched. Many believed he couldn't be beaten. Then came Montel Griffin.
Montel Griffin works off the jab from his low crouching position, and he dominates the early action as he tries to go to Roy Jones's body, and Jones kind of sits back on the ropes to get a look at what Griffin's got. Griffin with a hard right hand to the side of Jones's head. Roy Jones has not thrown a punch so far.
The underdog was giving Jones everything he could handle. Griffin controlled the early rounds with effective jabbing and movement and some scorecards. Had him leading after 8 rounds. This was supposed to be a routine title defense, but Griffin was making it a dogfight. In the 9th round, Jones finally hurt Griffin with a series of power shots. Griffin's knee touched the canvas, and that's when Roy Jones Jr. made the biggest mistake of his prime career.
And Griffin's knee goes down, and Jones lands 2 punches after Griffin's knee was on the canvas. And now Griffin slumps forward.
Was a foul. I don't know.
He's not getting up.
Call a question about it. 2 punches while he was down. Not 1, 2.
Referee Tony Perez immediately disqualified Jones, his first professional loss and the only defeat during his legendary prime. The WBC light heavyweight title was vacated.
I didn't lose. Nobody beat me yet. Disqualification, I can take that. Ain't nobody gonna beat me.
Jones got his revenge in spectacular fashion. In the rematch on August 7th, 1997, he knocked Griffin out in the first round with a devastating left hook. But that disqualification remains a permanent asterisk on what many consider one of the greatest careers in boxing history. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Protect yourself at all times. September 17, 2011, the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Victor Ortiz for the WBC Welterweight Championship. The fight generated 1.25 million pay-per-view buys and 78.4 million in revenue, and it ended with one of the most controversial knockouts in boxing history. Mayweather was controlling the fight through the first 3 rounds when Ortiz, known for his aggressive style, pinned Mayweather in the corner and threw a blatant intentional headbutt that cut Mayweather's mouth.
Going to come away. The point. Well, headbutt. Point, headbutt. And it wasn't intentional. Headbutt. That really hurts Ortiz because he was heavy.
Referee Joe Cortez deducted a point from Ortiz. Feeling remorseful, Ortiz approached Mayweather to apologize, even kissing him on the cheek. They touched gloves. The fight was resuming, and then Ortiz dropped his hands.
Oh, and then as Ortiz tries the sportsmanship, Mayweather makes him pay. What a rookie mistake there on Ortiz. It's up to 7 and 8. He's not going to make it. 9 and 10. It's all over.
Mayweather had unleashed a left hook followed by a right hand, while Ortiz's guard was completely down. The knockout came at 2:59 of the 4th round. No penalty was ever issued. Was it legal? Technically, yes. The fight had resumed, and the cardinal rule of boxing is protect yourself at all times. Was it ethical? That debate continues to this day. Mayweather defended his actions, citing the fundamental rule that fighters must always be ready, but critics called it one of the cheapest shots in championship history. Marco Antonio Barrera, the punch that cost a legacy. March 17, 2007, 2 Mexican legends, Marco Antonio Barrera versus Juan Manuel Marquez for the WBC super featherweight title at Mandalay Bay.
This fight is going to be very, very
Right hand
special.
upstairs by Barrera.
Both guys are punching extremely hard.
Barrera stepping inside of Marquez.
The fight was living up to its billing as an instant classic. Barrera had controlled the early rounds with his crisp jab and left hooks, but by the 7th round, Marquez had adjusted and was landing devastating combinations. Then came the moment that would define the fight. Marquez stunned Barrera with a series of power shots. Barrera responded with a counter right hand that dropped Marquez to 1 knee, but instead of backing off and letting the referee count, Barrera stepped forward and landed an extra right hand, a clear foul for hitting a downed opponent.
And knocks Marquez down. Amazing.
And now he's penalizing Barrera for hitting him while he's down.
Here's the right hand that hurts Barrera so badly. To the canvas. That was a knockdown. And if it's not ruled a knockdown, that's a terrible error. And he took away a point.
Referee Jay Nutty ruled no knockdown, calling it a slip, and deducted a point from Barrera. What could have been a 10-8 round for Barrera instead became a 10-8 round for Marquez. That swing would prove decisive. Marquez went on to win a unanimous decision, capturing the title. Barrera, frustrated and defeated, hinted at retirement afterward. The extra punch born from desperation had cost him not just the fight, but perhaps the crowning achievement of his legendary career. Zab Judah, the low blow that started a riot, April 8, 2006, Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. The undefeated Floyd Mayweather Jr. challenging IBF welterweight champion Zab Judah in a fight promoted as Sworn Enemies. Judah had started strong, winning the early rounds with his speed and aggression, but by the 10th round, Mayweather had completely taken over, bloodying Judah and pulling away on the scorecards. With just seconds remaining in the 10th, desperation took hold.
Oh, it's a low blow, big low blow, big low blow. I knew that was coming.
The great equalizer, Alan. The great equalizer. That was an extremely low shot. Mayweather does not appear able to put any weight on his left leg. Roger Mayweather and Yoel Judah in the ring, a fight breaking out between the trainers.
Judah delivered a devastating low blow, followed by a rabbit punch to the back of Mayweather's head. What happened next was chaos.
A horrible sight, Alan. One of the ugliest sights you'll ever see in boxing right here.
This is bad news, folks. This is bad news. And I hope the crowd doesn't go nuts because I'm going under the table. We've got beer being thrown around the arena. It's complete mayhem in there.
Roger Mayweather, Floyd's uncle and trainer, stormed into the ring to confront Judah. Yoel Judah, Zab's father, followed and punched Roger. Within seconds, both corners had erupted into a full-scale brawl while fans threw debris into the ring.
Judah kind of lost it. That was an intentional
Finally,
low blow.
It certainly appeared to be.
It finally boiled over. You can't go that far south unless you mean it.
Especially when you're that far behind in the fight. It's an equalizer
now,
that a professional will use from time to time. I think
the fight eventually resumed, and Mayweather won by unanimous decision. But the aftermath was severe. The Nevada State Athletic Commission handed out massive fines. Roger Mayweather was fined $200,000 and had his license revoked for 1 year. Yoel Judah received a $100,000 fine and 1 year suspension. Zab Judah was fined $350,000 and suspended for 1 year. Mike Tyson, the bite heard around the world. June 28, 1997, the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield II, forever known as the Bite Fight. The rematch generated $180 million in revenue from 1.9 million pay-per-view buys, the highest at that time. Tyson was seeking revenge for his shocking TKO loss 7 months earlier, but from the opening bell, things were going wrong. Holyfield controlled the EB action with clinches and jabs. In the second round, an accidental headbutt opened a cut over Tyson's right eye. Tyson complained to referee Mills Lane, but the headbutt was ruled incidental. Then came the third round. During a clinch, Tyson did the unthinkable. He bit Holyfield's right ear, tearing off a 1-inch piece of cartilage and spitting it onto the canvas. Lane halted the action, consulted the ringside physician, and incredibly allowed the fight to continue after deducting 2 points from Tyson. But moments later, Tyson bit Holyfield's left ear as well. This time, Lane had seen enough. He disqualified Tyson immediately. The consequences were historic. The Nevada State Athletic Commission revoked Tyson's boxing license indefinitely and fined him $3 million, the maximum penalty of 10% of his $30 million purse. He was banned for 15 months before his license was restored in October 1998. Years later, Tyson was asked if he would do it again.
If you had a chance to do it over again, would you do it over again? No, yeah, I'd probably do the same thing, because he was really kicking my ass. Because he was really kicking my ass and bumping my head and stuff. And yeah, I think I would do it today. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, guys.
The ear bite became one of the most infamous moments in sports history, referenced in countless movies, TV shows, and songs. In a strange twist of fate, Tyson and Holyfield eventually reconciled, and in 2022, they even launched Holy Ears cannabis edibles together. Andrew Golota, the man who beat himself twice. Andrew Golota could have been the heavyweight champion of the world. The Polish Olympic bronze medalist had the jab, the power, and the skills to beat anyone. But twice, against the same opponent, he threw it all away. On July 11, 1996, Golota faced former undisputed heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe at Madison Square Garden. Golota dominated the fight with his superior jab, building a significant lead on the scorecards. He was winning convincingly, but he couldn't stop throwing low blows. After warnings in rounds 4 and 6, Golota landed another blatant groin shot in round 7, resulting in his disqualification. What followed was pandemonium. Bowe's entourage attacked Golota in the ring. One member struck him with a walkie-talkie, requiring 11 stitches. A full-scale riot erupted, injuring 22 people and resulting in 10 arrests. 5 months later, they did it again. The rematch in Atlantic City followed an eerily similar script. Golota was again dominating. He knocked Bo down twice and was ahead on all three scorecards, 75, 71, 75, 73, and 74, 72. And once again, he couldn't help himself. In the 9th round, Golota landed 3 consecutive low blows that felled Bo, resulting in another disqualification. 2 fights, 2 dominant performances, 2 disqualifications. Golota never recovered mentally. He went on to lose key fights against Lennox Lewis and others, finishing his career at 41-9-1 without ever capturing a major title. The man who beat himself twice became boxing's ultimate cautionary tale of self-destruction. Roberto Duran, the low blow that made a legend. June 26, 1972, Madison Square Garden. Undefeated challenger Roberto Duran versus lightweight champion Ken Buchanan.
Like Roberto Duran, he was a wild motherfucker.
He's beautiful.
Duran was only 21 years old, but already his reputation for ferocity preceded him. Manos de piedra, hands of stone. He entered the fight at 28-0 with 24 knockouts. The bout was brutal from the opening bell. Duran scored a flash knockdown in the first round and dominated most of the fight with heavy bodywork and relentless pressure. But throughout, he employed rough tactics, repeated low blows, headbutts, and holding that referee Johnny Lobianco largely allowed. The ending was chaos. As the bell sounded to end the 13th round, Duran landed a right uppercut to Buchanan's groin that dropped the champion in agony. Buchanan writhed on the canvas, clutching his midsection. Unable to continue, he lost via TKO. Post-fight medical examination revealed swelling of Buchanan's right testicle and extreme tenderness, confirming what everyone had seen. But the referee had ruled the punch legal, and the result stood. Duran went on to become one of the greatest fighters in history, a 4-division world champion and Hall of Famer. In 2002, he privately apologized to Buchanan, acknowledging the foul. But for Buchanan, who struggled with the psychological aftermath for years, that apology came 3 decades too late. Derek Gainer, the worst officiating in boxing history. September 9th, 2000, New Orleans Arena. Derek "Smoke" Gainer challenging WBA featherweight champion Freddie Lil Hagler Norwood. Norwood was a defensive wizard with a 40-1-1 record, having successfully defended his title 7 times. This should have been another routine defense. Instead, it became one of boxing's worst cheap shots. The fight was marred by low blows from both men. Gainer lost a point in round 6, but the chaos peaked in the 11th round when Norwood landed 3 consecutive groin shots. Here's where it gets inexcusable. Referee Paul Sita intervened by physically grabbing and dragging Norwood down, with the champion completely restrained and defenseless. Gainer unleashed 2 low blows that sent Norwood to the canvas in agony. Any competent official would have disqualified Gainer immediately. Instead, Sita counted to 13 and then stopped the fight, awarding Gainer the TKO victory and the WBA featherweight title. The decision was universally condemned. Gainer had been allowed to foul a restrained opponent and was rewarded with a championship for it. The controversy highlighted the devastating consequences of poor officiating, though Gainer's reign was short-lived as he lost the title in his first defense to Juan Manuel Marquez. Luis Resto, the gloves that destroyed 2 lives. This is the most horrifying story in boxing history, and unlike the others on this list, it wasn't a momentary loss of control, it was premeditated assault. On June 16, 1983, Luis Resto faced undefeated prospect Billy Collins Jr. on the undercard of the Roberto Duran-Davy Moore fight at Madison Square Garden. Collins was 14-0 with 11 knockouts, a rising star with a bright future. Resto was a journeyman at 19-7-2, known more for durability than punching power. But that night, Resto's punches felt different.
I'm conflating these 2 stories in my mind with Louis Resto and Billy Collins.
Plaster of Paris.
Yes. With Margarito, I think it was just the wraps, where they had put Plaster of Paris in his wraps. But Billy Collins Jr. and Louis Resto was a fight where Billy Collins was this up-and-coming fighter.
Resto won a unanimous decision, but Collins's face was devastated, both eyes swollen nearly shut, severe bruising everywhere. After the fight, Collins's father, Billy Ray, went to shake Resto's hand and immediately noticed something was wrong.
Billy Collins' dad grabs Resto's gloves and realizes there's no padding in the gloves.
Yeah there's the photo right then. There's his dad in the photo.
Crazy, just crazy.
The gloves were impounded and examined. A state police lab confirmed that approximately 1 ounce of horsehair padding had been removed from each glove. Further investigation revealed that trainer Panama Lewis had also soaked the hand wraps in plaster of Paris. Billy Collins Jr. suffered permanent damage, a torn iris and blurred vision that ended his career at 21 years old. Unable to cope with his shattered dreams, Collins died in a car crash in 1984 that was ruled a suicide.
I mean, his vision was for the rest of his life, for as long as he lived after that. Never fought again. And everyone was so confused because they couldn't believe that this guy, Louis Resto, was not known as being this big puncher, was just busting him up with every shot he landed.
In 1986, Resto and Lewis were convicted of assault, criminal possession of a weapon, conspiracy, and tampering with a sporting event. Resto served 2.5 years at Rikers Island. Both received lifetime bans from boxing. In 2007, Resto finally admitted that he knew about the tampering all along. He apologized to Collins's widow in the documentary Assault in the Ring, but no apology could ever bring back the young man whose life was stolen in that ring. Oliver McCall, the breakdown that shocked the world. February 7, 1997, the Las Vegas Hilton. Oliver McCall versus Lennox Lewis for the vacant WBC Heavyweight Championship. McCall had shocked the world in 1994 by knocking out Lewis in the second round to capture the title. But by 1997, his life had spiraled. Multiple arrests for vandalism, disorderly conduct, and drug possession. A stint in rehab for cocaine addiction. His promoter Don King insisted he was fit to fight. He wasn't. From the opening bell, Lewis dominated with his jab. McCall barely threw punches. Then, after round 3, something strange happened.
McCall starting to look around and mug for the crowd as though he's either bored or frustrated. One thing he's not doing for the moment is winning rounds.
He's hardly fighting right now.
He's walking around.
He's wandering around the ring. He hasn't gone to his corner.
McCall refused to go to his corner. He wandered aimlessly around the ring. He wouldn't engage. And then came the tears.
This is a bizarre display. I personally have never seen anything like it. As round 4 closes here.
Jim, I think this fight should be stopped right now.
Yeah, the fight shouldn't go on.
There's something wrong with Oliver McCall. He's near tears now. He doesn't really want to fight. He's crying in his corner. I've never seen anything like this. He's overwhelmed with some sort of emotion.
Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself, man.
It's almost like you're watching a man come apart at the seam.
Mills Lane, the referee, tried to get McCall to fight, but by round 5, with McCall still refusing to defend himself, Lane stopped the fight via TKO at 0:55 of the round.
Well, I've seen some strange things in boxing. That is surely one of the strangest.
And this guy is in bad shape, and he needs us. And I don't know, I'm sorry to see the boxing crowd see something like that, because maybe they're unfamiliar with it, but we see this every day in the lives of young people.
The Nevada Athletic Commission suspended McCall and withheld his $3 million purse. He was deemed mentally ill and committed to a psychiatric ward in Virginia. Eventually, he was cleared to fight again and returned later that year. But that night remains one of the most haunting images in sports history. A man breaking down in front of millions, his inner demons overwhelming him in the most public way possible. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.